Hey y'all, welcome back to the Fevolution podcast. I'm your host, Erica Marie, and this week we're going to talk about why some of y'all hired help but didn't delegate for your freedom. You simply hired people to stand around your exhaustion and ask it questions. Now, listen, I'm not judging, okay? Because most of us were taught that hiring help means we're finally supported, right? But nah, sometimes you hire help and all you really did was give your burnout a payroll. And I already know somebody sitting there, right? And they like, Erica, that don't even make sense, bro. Because hiring help is supposed to make things easier, right? That's literally the whole point. So be honest, okay? How many times have you told yourself, I just got to get some help and everything's going to be easier? My life will be so much smoother running than it is, right? If I just hire that virtual assistant or that contractor, matter of fact, I just got to get a whole team, right, to do the work for me. Then I'm going to finally have some breathing room, some relief. I'm going to have that freedom. Then what happened? You hired the help. Okay, you did it. Props to you. Okay, you took the step. But somehow you still tired. You still answering questions all day. You still getting interrupted. You still checking your messages every 10 seconds. You still gotta approve everything, explain everything, and carry the whole damn business on your shoulders. And at the end of the day, you sitting here, okay, you questioning your life choices. You regretting every decision that brought you to this moment. And then you like, I hired help, bro. Why am I still tired? Why am I still answering questions all day? Getting interrupted, carrying this whole damn business by myself. Why does it feel like everything still depends on me? I hired the damn team. I did it. So what the hell, right? But let me ask you a better question. Did you actually get help when you hired? Or did you just create more people that needed access to your brain? Because those ain't the same thing. All right. And I know it sounds a little harsh, but think about it. All right. How many times does somebody on your team ask, what do you want me to do with this? How would you handle this? Can you look at this real quick? Can I run something by you? Now, none of those questions are problems by themselves. Let's be for real. Okay. But when they happen all day, every day, at some point, you got to ask yourself, why does everything keep coming back to me? Because here's what I've learned. Okay. A lot of founders think that they delegated work when really all they did was delegate labor, meaning, that the decisions stayed right where they always were with the founder, you. So you already know, I'm bringing this home for y'all. Okay. So let me put it like this. All right. Imagine you finally moved into your dream house. Not the one from episode 20. It ain't got no windows or no doors. Okay. This one actually has them. All right. It's finished. You're protected. You moved in. Life is good. You started using FemFlow. That's why you got them doors and windows. Right. And now you're ready for the upgrades. Okay. You decide you tired of them above ground pools, right? You got to put it up every summer, take it down every winter. You tired. It's a lot of work. You don't want to keep doing it. So you like, you know what? This is my forever home. I'm about to get me an in-ground pool. You want the nice one, right? With the lighting. You want a waterfall feature on the side because you're doing good. Okay. You want the whole shebang. So you decide you got to hire a professional pool company and you did your research. All right. You did your research. You found the company, right? They build pools for a living. That's all they do. All right. They're the experts. And then the construction starts. Everything seems great, right? Then your phone rings. Hey, where do you want the pool? Okay. Reasonable question. You tell them where you want it. Hey, yeah, I want it, in the middle. Make sure the lighting goes around it. Da da da. Right? You tell them what you want. That way, you're like, all right, let me answer all the questions ahead of time, so that way they could work, and I can enjoy it when it's done. Right? Because I'm dealing with a lot of nut already. Like, I hired help at work, and it just ain't working. Right? Okay. But then your phone ring again. A little bit later. How deep do you want the pool? Okay, makes sense. I want a shallow end and a deep end. You know what? In-ground pool, the normal, right? Makes sense. Then it rings again. Do you want the waterfall on the left side or the right side? And now you're sitting there like, wait a minute, didn't I answer this question? All right, okay. Tell them where to put it. I want it on the left, right? Or the right, whatever side you want it on. I ain't judging. Okay. Tell them where they want it. Then, what kind of stones do you want around it? Around what? The pool? The waterfall? What are we talking about right now? Waterfall. Okay, I want, XYZ. This is how I want it, right? Then, what about your lighting? Do you want it to surround the pool? Do you want it to go around the waterfall? Where do you want the lighting? Okay, you can put it around the pool, but make sure you include the waterfall. I want everything lit up, right? I want it to be nice. I want it to feel like an oasis in my backyard. Then, what about the landscaping? You want flowers? Why am I still answering all these damn questions? Did we have a whole conversation? Y'all came out here. Y'all did an estimate. I walked you through everything I wanted. You took notes. You took pictures. I even gave you the inspo, right? I had me some Pinterest pictures I showed y'all. Like, hey, I want it to look like this, but I want it here and I want that there and I want, you know what I'm saying? Major tweaks. So it's you. You did all that. And now they still asking all the questions you done already answered. The same questions they took notes on. And now you sitting there like, what? Hold up, hold up, hold up. Didn't I hire a pool company? Ain't this what y'all do all day, every day? Or did I just hire a company to keep asking me questions all damn day? Every 5 minutes, my phone ringing. You over here like, where you want the drainage? Where you want the fencing? Where you want this? Where you want that? Bro, look, I'm sorry, I can't. Because somehow upgrading my dream home and getting an in-ground pool installed, I thought I was clear, right? I told them what I wanted. I was very clear. I even gave them pictures. They took notes. They do this all day. And now this project can't even move for 15 minutes without somebody needing another answer from me. And most of the time, it's something I done already answered. Now, common sense, okay? When you hired that pool company, was your goal to build the pool yourself? Hell nah. You hired the company because you wanted the project to move, right? You wanted progress. You wanted expertise. You wanted relief. You wanted your damn pool. But during this whole process, every decision still came back to you, even the ones that you made before they even started, right? So every question they have that they need an answer for still lives with you. They still coming to you, right? Work gets paused because they got to ask you something else, as if you didn't already give them all the answers. And that is exactly what a lot of founders still call delegation. But that is not freedom. Because the work got delegated, yeah, right? But the dependency didn't. And that's what most people don't even talk about, okay? The team isn't always the problem. The contractor isn't always the problem. The virtual assistant you decided to hire isn't always the problem. Sometimes the problem is that the business, or in this case, your project, if we're still talking about your dream home, right, still has no way to make decisions without you. So everything's still coming through you. It's still depending on you. And it still gets paused, waiting on you to make a decision. And eventually your entire day gets consumed by all these countless tiny interruptions. Okay? Not big emergencies, the tiny ones, the tiny approval, the tiny clarification, the tiny decision, right? So it's death by 1,000. Let me ask you something real quick. Questions. And you got to understand, okay? I told you it was going to make sense. I know y'all was questioning me in the beginning. You're like, what the hell? Where are we going with this? But look, it makes sense now, don't it? Right? All right. Because that's when it's time to do things that only you can do as the founder. Okay. So when it's time for you to do those things, but you got death by 1,000 real quick questions, you're exhausted. You don't get to do your CEO work. And you're not exhausted because you don't have help. You do. You're exhausted because the help that you hired still needs you to operate. That becomes a protection problem. Okay. Your capacity isn't protected if every decision, even the little ones, still require your involvement. Your stability isn't protected if everything stops or pauses when you're not available. Okay. And if taking a day off with this whole team that you hired means coming back to a pile of questions and tiny decisions that still need you, then you did not delegate for your freedom. You gave your exhaustion paid assistance. Now it makes more sense, right? But look, doing money the fem way, okay? It's similar. It's not just asking whether the money came in, okay? It's asking what it protects when it gets here. It asks the questions like, did hiring this person actually bring me relief? Did it bring me clarity? Did it create capacity? My freedom, right? Or did it just create more opportunities for someone to bring everything to me? Even if I'm not doing the work, I'm still doing the work. Because every time I turn around, they got another question. And they're not doing anything until I give them the answer. Hindsight is 2020. Say it all the time. So when it comes to your business, if you hire people and everything still comes through you, did you really hire anyone? Aren't you essentially still doing it? Wouldn't it have gone faster if you just did it yourself? Because eventually that's where your brain takes you. Why the hell did I hire this person? I might as well just do it myself. It'll be done quicker. And then I can get off when I'm supposed to get off. And, things aren't slowed down. They keep moving. Would you have hired that pool company if you knew that every decision you made ahead of time was going to need to be reaffirmed during the process? Sometimes people take notes on what you say, but then they don't reference those notes because you're right there and they want to come to you. So you can build your workflows and you can build your SOPs, right? But you have to have a decision framework. That's what they need. Anyone can follow a workflow, anyone can follow an SOP, all right? But if you know that you hold things to a certain standard, then you need a decision framework. Here's what came up. Here's how to handle that decision. Here's what should happen. That's much deeper than a workflow or an SOP, all right? And the reason I'm telling you that is because we can hire help, but we didn't really hire help. I think I made my point about that. So it's time to start building those decision frameworks, decision matrix, whatever you want to call it. Your people, in order to support you, whether it's a pool company or a team member, need to know how to make a decision without coming to you every time. The only way they're going to know that is if you teach them, okay? So if you hired help right now, all right, and somehow you still feel trapped inside every part of your business, do yourself a favor. Okay? Take the FemFlow protection self-assessment. And you might be like, Erica, how the hell does this make sense? Listen, did I not tell you you need a decision framework? Do you know how to build one? Everybody knows how to do workflows and SOPs. That is not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the thing that protects those. The decision framework is what protects your time, your capacity, your energy from being depleted or extracted from, right? We talked about effort versus extraction before. But take the self-assessment because one, yes, it kind of focuses on money, but it's also going to make you think on a deeper level because as you answer those questions, you're going to start thinking about where else you may not be protected. Figure out what your FPI is, your FemFlow Protection Index, right? Figure that out so you can see how much work you have to do. But if you already know that you need FemFlow, you need a system, okay? Now, FemFlow, while it is 100% a money framework, is really a decision framework. And once you get in the mindset of learning how to make decisions, you can take what's in your head, you can get it out, write it down. And then when you hire, instead of giving your exhaustion paid assistants, people to sit around and ask it questions, you're going to hire people that can execute without you. Because you're going to know what that looks like. Promise. We're going to work together. We're going to figure it out. This is what I do. Okay. This is what I do. But we need to figure out like where dependency is living inside your business and how you can replace it with actual protection. All right. Because you don't need more people waiting on you, ask you all the questions. You need a business and a team that know how to move. All right. Now, I know this week was a lot, but listen, next week, we're going to talk about why your body was never supposed to be the business model. Because if this episode taught you one thing so far, right, it's how activated you got when you heard the 50,000 questions that needed to be answered that you had already answered, right? That's your body becoming the business model. And we're going to talk about it next week, all right? Because if the business only works when you keep pushing through, then that's not support, okay? That's basically emergency power. But we're going to get into it next week. I'm not going to talk about it this week, all right? So make sure you follow the Femolution podcast. Turn on your notifications. And I'm going to see y'all next week, all right? Bye.